Hello and welcome to Me and You and Nancy Drew, the podcast where I, Colleen,
and I, Megan,
are reading and watching and discussing all of the Nancy Drew-universe that we can get our hands on. This time we read The Haunted Bridge, which is book 15 in the original series, although we read the revised edition from 1972. Megan, what'd you think?
That's a good question. I liked it. More than some of the ones we've read in this kind of chunk of classic books lately, but the mystery wasn't super compelling.
No, the mystery was pretty confusing. It was very Gulf-centric, which I didn't care about.
Which is exactly what I was about to say. So, yeah, it was just okay. Not bad, but not our strongest mystery, especially after last week's Whispering Statue,
Whispering Statue was so strong.
It was really great, and so I was kind of hoping that this one would be up to that quality. So a little disappointing that it wasn't quite there.
But did not sink to the low of Ivory Charm or Hollow Oak. So
no, definitely not. Yep.
I'm so completely happy about it.
I will count my blessings.
Exactly. Acrostic. Abridgment creation regarding our summary to inform co-host.
So, an acrostic poem takes the letters of a word or phrase, which this week we have chosen Haunted Bridge, and sets them vertically instead of horizontally, and each letter becomes a beginning letter in a word or line for the poem. And so, as usual, I have only done one word per line, and so with Haunted Bridge, HAUNTEDBRIDGE, here is my acrostic poem. Harassed and unhealed, Nancy's tournament ends delightfully before reuniting intended duo, grabbing evildoers.
Oh, that not only is a fantastic summary in general, but it goes kind of in order of the entire plot. So
that was the goal. I have actually
good.
Thoroughly enjoyed the acrostic poems.
Yes, I wasn't sure if we were going to like them because they can be less structured than, say, the limericks or the haiku, which requires a certain amount of syllables. But honestly, I really do like it.
I do too. So let's hear your acrostic poem.
Yes, there were so many letters that I did try to do one word per line this time, trying to take after you, but I don't think it went in order at all.
That's okay.
So, helping another unusual nearly wed, thievery excused, depressed bride returned, injury dampens Gulf excursions.
Oh, amazing. I love that.
Thank you. I know nearly wed is not actually a phrase, but I think that she does come across either engaged people or intended people quite a bit. Like I'm thinking about Nico and, was it Cecily?
Yes.
Yes, and so that would, I think, kind of the same category as, they do want to be together, but circumstances have thrown them apart, but Nancy's here. I think this counts in that same category.
30-second recap.
Okay.
All right, count me in.
3, 2, 1, go.
Nancy is golfing, and then she gets hurt, and I think it's it's this jackwad's fault, and he won't leave her alone, and he is suspicious because he keeps changing his handwriting, but it turns out that's not even relevant. He just is doing that for, giggles, I guess, and he is fine. He's not the bad guy. The bad guy is also not the guy who has a mountain lion for a pet. That's just a separate thing happening. He was a gardener for the bride who then got reunited after her house burned down, so Nancy got her husband to her kind of by accident. Oh my God. Yeah, no, that was not good. You should go now.
Okay. All right, I will do my best. It was an odd one, though. It's hard to summarize it.
Yeah, and I also forgot what order the things happened in because she starts with golf and then finds various elements of this as per usual. So.
Yes, exactly.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Nancy is at some fancy hotel. She gets involved in a golf tournament. She hurts her hand due to the aforementioned jackwad. She still does great and wins the tournament at the end. But during all that time, she investigates a haunted bridge, which is just a scarecrow. And it's got some moaning and screeching. And the moaning is just the trees. And the screeching is a baby mountain lion. And also a house had burned down and jewelry is missing. And they're looking for a jewelry thief. And she finds a sad lady, but she's not the jewelry thief. She's the one whose house burned down. And she was involved in the jewelry. but not the thief.
She was involved with the jury, but was not the thief. I thought you said sad lion and not sad lady. And I'm like, I agree that the lion was probably sad, but I don't think we discussed that.
Oh.
Incredible. Yeah, no, lots of parts of this.
Do you have your list of fun names?
I do have a list of names. Okay. I need to point out specifically all of Nancy's opponents in the golf tournament all have two first names instead of a first name and a last name, which I always think is very funny, specifically that all three of them do. So we've got Betsy Howard. I guess Amy Gray doesn't have to be a first name. And Ruth Allison, possible relative of Anita Allison from the Ivory Charm. It's not discussed, but it is weird to have Allison as a last name at all, let alone twice. Other names include Jimmy Harlow, Mark Hilburn, and Mark Wardell. We have Barney Milton. We have Martin Bardescu. Yeah, I don't even know about that one. We got Margaret Judson. And those are all the fun ones. There's some other names that I just put down because it actually has been handy to have a list of like, oh, actually, yeah, we met Chris here. So there's Chris Sutter, which it took forever to find his last name. He's the caddy, and we only find out his last name. Yeah, I assume it's his last name because we find his mother, and she's Mrs. Sutter, so I assume he's Chris Sutter. I don't know. There's Dr. Ackerman, who might be like the hotel doctor, ?
Assumedly, I kind of think so, or like the neighborhood doctor who serves the hotel.
It's unclear. Yeah, so there's a lot of golfing.
Honestly, a ton did not happen other than Nancy played a lot of games of golf with a hurt hand that got hurt twice, which we'll talk more about in Wound Watch.
Yes.
She was being harassed by Martin Bardescu, who they just call Barty, which I love.
Well, George started to call that.
Yes.
And then I think she called him Barty the Bargain.
Barty the Bargain. Actually, I think Bess called him.
Bess does call him that.
Yeah, George named him Barty.
Anyway, hereafter, I'm going to call him Barty. And Bess goes, Barty the Bargain.
Yes.
Got him.
And so he is just... It's like you referenced during your 30 seconds. Yeah. He's like harassing her, following her around, trying to ask her to lunch, ask her to dance, ask her to play golf, ask her this. It turns out he knew the whole time that she was Nancy Drew. And part of the reason he was harassing her was like for fun to like see if he could like get one over on her, and was doing things that were suspicious on purpose to see if she would catch on, so she was suspicious of him, thought he might be a forger because he kept changing his handwriting, but he was doing that on purpose to see if she would notice, which is just like obnoxious.
It's so obnoxious. We've had like bad guys, but he's not a quote bad guy of the plot, but he is the worst guy we have encountered in these, I think. I was like, oh my God, this guy could happen in real life, and I would be so annoyed. Whereas like, I'm probably not going to meet a record counterfeiter.
True. I really did not like the guy, and I probably wouldn't encounter someone like him either. The guy in Hollow Oak, the one who kept lying a bunch and was like following Nancy, making comments about the photograph of her dad. Is this your boyfriend? He's a little old for you. I was like,
I forgot about him. I think I blocked him out. You're right. Yeah, I can't say this is the worst guy because that guy was a creepo.
But then he was also like Count Olaf level of like disguising himself as multiple people
with a fake limp and all this different stuff. Yeah,
but
this guy was just
totally
not related to the plot and just a jerk.
And like one of those like braggarts who just keeps like telling, and you're like, he keeps talking.
At some point he's like, I met this person in Africa, and Nancy's like, he's probably never been to Africa.
I played golf with the Prince of Wales.
The Prince of Wales.
The Prince of Wales.
I think he said he won.
Would assumedly be Prince Charles, based on.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Right, the Prince of Wales is the heir apparent, and Prince Charles has been the heir apparent for 100
years.
Yeah, was the heir apparent for a long time before finally becoming King Charles. Long live the Queen. Spoilers. But you're totally right in what you said about this is like almost someone that you would actually be in real life, who just like cannot
won't
take a
take
hint,
no for an answer, and thinks it's funny.
Yes,
she doesn't. That she's not interested.
And she's feeling uncomfortable, and she's kind of made it quite obvious.
Yes. At first, she's politely, like, dissembling, and then she's like, absolutely no. And gets her dad to, like, play tennis with him to just occupy him so she can be left alone. Oh, he's also a cheater when he doesn't even need to. Like, he golfed his ball into the woods, and then Nancy was there doing woods activities, and he moved it to a better spot before hitting it out of the woods, when apparently he would have won even without that. He just, like, wanted to seem better than he was, and so it wasn't even like he cheated so that he would win. It was just for the sake of cheating, essentially.
A sore winner and a sore loser.
Sore loser. took her on a drive. I forget what. I think she finally said yes so that she could get a clue out of this date. And he got annoyed when she took a break to go to the ladies' lounge. And he also drove really fast. And she said, "You need to slow down. I don't feel safe." He goes, "Well, this is how I drive." She goes, "And I will never go out with you again if you don't slow down right now," which I appreciated her setting that boundary. But that's really dangerous, right? He thought it was funny.
Yeah, and he almost rolled his eyes and was like, "Fine," and slowed down.
Yes. But it wasn't oh, I'm that's why it felt more realistic of danger. This wasn't, oh, I've been chloroformed and then kidnapped and then I've been sealed into a statue levels of villainy. This was just, here's a guy who's driving really fast in his car because he won't take no for an answer. And I'm like, that sucks.
Yes.
Poor Nancy.
And then the actual mystery was introduced by Chris. Well, there's, of course, two mysteries going on.
Because there was also one from Carson.
There's the haunted bridge that Chris, the caddy, is like, "I won't go over there and get the golf ball that you just hit over there because that's the haunted bridge is over there. And there's screaming sounds and there's a white ghost and it appears at night and in the day and none of us would ever go over there." Nancy's like, "Oh, ghosts are not real. I would love to go investigate."
I love that he's like, well, it's extra scary because the ghost is there during the day, too. And I love that maybe it would have been fine if it was only a nighttime
Yes,
ghost.
exactly. If it was only at night, I could be brave.
It's not nighttime right now. It's fine.
Also during the day.
And that's because it's a scarecrow.
It is just a scarecrow. And
then
it worked. The whole goal of the scarecrow was to keep people away from the bridge, to keep them away from the mountain lion in the cage up the hill. And so, people were afraid of the scarecrow and so did not go over the bridge and so thus did not bother the mountain lion. And then Carson introduces his own legal mystery that he is investigating some stolen jewelry and asks Nancy to be on the lookout for a woman with a jeweled compact.
Specifically because he was working with a woman detective, but she's not available this week or something.
Yeah. So she's looking for this woman with a jeweled compact. She sees a woman, says she is too sad to be a thief.
Yes!
And continues to investigate.
That is her entire reasoning.
Yep, she is too sad to be evil. And so investigates, find out this woman lived on the property that is right next to this golf club / hotel thing, and her house burned down and she broke off her engagement and everyone was disappointed and confused about that, and no one's really seen her, but sometimes she's around, but then she disappears again. And it ends up turning out that the actual jewel thief woman with the jeweled compact, Mrs. Brownell,
and her associate, Mrs. Cartlett.
Yes. She met Margaret knowing that she was the sole inheritor of this estate and all these jewels, introduced herself, made friends, went to her house to spend the night, had her show her jewels, and left the compact there, hoping that then in the night she could take all of the jewels, including her own compact, which is stolen property.
It's a weird plan, but...
And it is a very weird plan. And then just coincidentally, the house burned down in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I did think that was part of the jewel thieving. It was not intentional.
Everyone did.
Separate.
Yeah, everyone did. And she was like, "Oh, no, that just was a weird thing." And so Margaret...
Well, and that's why Margaret Judson, kind of went on the run. She was like, everyone's going to think I burned my house down for insurance money. And then she did escape the fire by running away with her little chest of jewels, what she did not know, or she got, because it was middle fire, had the compact in it, which wasn't hers. And then she, basically, because she was running from a fire in the middle of the night, was near the haunted bridge. I can't remember if she slipped in the mud or if the bridge went out. The bridge is always going out. Basically, just don't be on a bridge in the Nancy Drew-universe is what I'm getting.
100%.
And so she's like, not only did my house burn down, not only was this lady there now, she passed out or hit her head or something, and so doesn't have the jewels anymore. And so she's like, well, everyone's going to think terribly of me. And I'm destitute now.
Yes, I have nothing. The jewels that I saved from the fire are missing. And then this woman is harassing her for stealing the compact when she's like, "I didn't steal it. I lost it.
And also you left it there. And also it's not yours.
Actually, I saved it. Then I lost it." And, in the end...
And it wasn't Miss Brownell's anyway.
No, it was also stolen. But Nancy and Carson point out, because Mrs. Brownell kept being like, "Oh, I'm going to press charges. Once I find you, I'm going to sue you for stealing my stuff." And Carson and Nancy are like, "Listen, she didn't have any evidence against you. You should have talked to a lawyer instead of running away." She's like, "I know that now. I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
And then, of course, Nancy reunites Margaret Judson with her
former fiance.
And they immediately get
all
re-engaged.
She knows is his name is Mark, and he's a professor, and there's 2 Marks that are professors at this college, which is crazy. More on them later, because I found some very funny little things about them. But
yeah, but overall, not a ton happened.
Oh, and about the mountain lion, that belonged to the gardener who used to work for Margaret Judson. His name is Joe Haley?
Yep.
Does that sound right?
And he's also the uncle of her fiance.
I missed that completely.
Yep.
Good job to me. Thank you. So the mountain lion belongs to him, and he just gets to keep it at the end. That's not even part of it. He gets hurt because he is out in the woods with a gun and then shoots himself by accident, ? Unsure.
Correct.
And so they're Nancy and the boys are their boys come down to the hotel because
as they always do,
don't have to go to work ever. And basically she assigns the boys to nursing Joe Haley back to health. And when he's finally aroused enough that he can be coherent, he's like, my mountain lion, no one fed the mountain lion. And they're like, no, we were definitely feeding the mountain lion, and we're not worried about why you have one in a cage, and we're going to let you keep having that. That's fine with us. That's completely, we don't ever resolve that. It's resolved, apparently. It's resolved that he's allowed to have it and we fed it. That's fine. Cliffhangers. There were no good cliffhangers. This was the worst book for cliffhangers.
It was. It was so bad. And I was like, okay, who is maintaining the standards that were laid out by Edward Stratemeyer that every chapter must end on a cliffhanger? Because these are terrible.
They're so bad.
One-ish, which I feel
I have 2 that I'd like to read, but they're not even good.
Yeah. So I'll do mine,
yeah.
Which is just at the end of chapter 10. So this is right after Joe Haley shoots himself in the head by accident while out and about. As you do. This is gun safety, friends. And so George goes.
It's the opposite of gun safety.
That's what I'm telling them. Everyone needs to maintain gun safety. Know all your safety rules, friends. George runs back to the hotel over the haunted bridge to go get the hotel doctor. Bess and Nancy are at Joe's house. They drag him in. I think
it starts raining.
It starts raining. They're of course investigating because what do? You go through the man's drawers, and the excuse, of course, is we just need to figure out what his name is. But of course, Nancy has other plans as well. And so while they're investigating, she finds a photograph. She's like, "This is going to be important for later." Pocket. They hear the screaming that they have not been able to identify yet, and then what was that? Bess called in terror, and that's it. That was the most cliffhanger that we had this time. But I do just really I don't know, when Nancy hears the scream and immediately flings open the cabin door and runs out. And Bess is like, don't leave me here alone!
That's right.
And then Nancy just runs away. Her words fell on deaf ears because of course they did.
Of course they did.
Bess was so scared this whole book, and I felt like there was no reason to be. I'm like, you have been
there was a lion.
There was a lion. But there were so many things she was afraid of that were not a big deal at all. And she's been in far worse situations.
She's been in such a bad... Remember the horror house where just everyone kept going in and then disappearing and coming out extremely wounded?
Everyone just comes out covered in scratches and bleeding. And
doesn't know where the other one is. Doesn't even know the other one entered the house. I thought George was with you.
And then you just find an 11-year-old boy not breathing, tied up in ropes.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my God.
That was far worse. That was a few weeks ago. That was worse.
That was a few weeks
And you know
ago,
what? I
during the
will
summer.
say, there's a good chance. Bess, at this point, has PTSD.
That's fair.
Every stress response is elevated because she has not dealt with the anxiety caused by all these previous actual legit scary circumstances that she just automatically assumes everything is going to be just about that bad.
That's fair.
Anyway, that's my cliffhanger. Poor Bess.
No, that's good. And a little bit of wound watch of checking in on Bess's mental health. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any good cliffhangers at all, but these are my 2 favorite ends of chapters. So, end of chapter 15. Ned, are you willing to substitute sleuthing for dancing tonight? That's not a cliffhanger. That was always going to be the case. It would be weirder if they danced than if they sleuthed.
Yeah.
That is the opposite of a cliffhanger.
Ned knows what he is involved with, okay?
Correct. In fact, the sentence before that is, that doesn't matter, Nancy. Just tell me what to do and I'll try to carry out orders. He's like, I'll do whatever you need. And she's like, got it. We're not dancing. Fantastic. And then the end of chapter 18 is an awkward silence followed. Even Nancy could think of nothing to say or do at such a critical moment. Girl, I don't want to keep reading. That sounds bad.
Nobody knew what to do, and no one's going to do anything.
Yeah, cool. I don't want to read that. I have enough of that in my own life. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was just a little disappointing.
It was a little disappointing. Now that I know the standards and practices from the history episode of what we are supposed to have.
I expect a certain level now.
And you're wrong to, apparently.
Ship of the week.
Dude, I have so much evidence for my George Nancy ship. I have so much.
I love it. Okay, go ahead. I was not as much a fan of Ned in this book. That's not really my ship. I just wanted to, I didn't know where else to talk about this. But Ned, we've seen some little like one-liners where Ned's maybe a little bit jealous or making some comments in the last few books. But I like flagged 3 different times that Ned was like a little bit like,
yeah. I
know.
agree, because I think in Ivory Charm, we had wondered if the reason Bess and George were acting a little out of character and Ned was a little more jealous than usual was maybe like a discomfort with the racialized component of things, where Nancy's flirting not only with another fraternity member, but also he's from India, and maybe that was making Ned like more uncomfortable than usual. Not excusing, but maybe explaining. But this was just the whole time having a situation. Tell me about it.
So this is when Nancy went and acquired Mark Wardell, like, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. She acquires him and adds him to the party.
Like an inventory item?
Nancy shows up with him, and even her explanation that he was Mr. Haley's nephew did not lessen Ned's feelings of jealousy.
This is clearly the most related to the case that anything's been so far, because mostly it's just been some BS.
And he's not even jealous of the person who, I mean, maybe it's because he knows that Barty is not a threat of any kind.
Except to Nancy's physical well-being, since that's the reason her hand initially gets injured.
And then they're going to a dance, again, at the fancier hotel where they might find Margaret Judson. And Ned is like, oh, you seem pretty positive you're going to find her tonight. I hope your hunch is right. And Nancy says, can you help me? And he said, I thought you didn't need my assistance. He replied impulsively. Yeah. And this is also after he's been like bitter that Nancy hasn't been spending any time with him because they've instead been on convalescence duty helping.
Which I believe he volunteered for.
I think so. Oh, yeah, here it is. I don't seem to be of much use at anything else, Ned muttered, turning away. Like, dude, what's with your attitude?
Seriously.
Especially because, like, he's usually so understanding of Nancy just, like, jetting off and leaving him places. He's like, oh, that's Nancy on the case. But this time he was, I don't know. So please tell me more about George and Nancy.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, immediately Nancy is injured from falling off a balcony because she's leaning away from Barty.
Like, Elizabeth Swann style.
Yes. It's like comical, except that she actually gets hurt. And Dr. Akerman, after he's like, suggests a hot bath and a body massage to prevent your muscles from becoming stiff. That idea rather appealed to Nancy, who felt battered and sore. After the doctor had gone, George spoke up. Bess and I could give you a good rub. Nancy regarded her dubiously.
I also added that in accidentally gay. So.
Yes, correct. It was initially that, and then I just kept seeing more ship items of like, yes, it's accidentally gay with Bess and George, but like most of the massage is from George, and then Bess takes over when she is done. It doesn't go well. Nancy does not have a good time.
Maybe we just combine accidentally gay with this, because all of my accidentally gay are also about George. So
incredible. Let's do it. Accidentally gay. But she's like, oh, don't rub that spot, George. It's too tender. I have to massage the muscles. Where'd you get that bottle of liniment? It smells awful. And George goes, this is a free massage, so don't be so critical. It's fantastic. It says there was no rest or relaxation for Nancy. She was pummeled and pounded by her well-meaning but inexperienced masseuses until she felt ready to cry from sheer exhaustion. Oh my gosh. Poor Nancy, but also very funny.
Very.
And then Nancy later gets some flowers from stupid Barty. And Bess and George are like, oh, I mean, I know he's a bad guy, but the flowers are like, she like kind of doesn't put them in water. And she's like, okay, great. And Bess is like, well, don't punish the flowers. They're nice. And so Bess puts them in water. And then Nancy impulsively walks to the florist shop and gets bouquets for Bess and for George and says, just right from a friend. Since she knows that Bess and George will recognize her handwriting, she asked the clerk to write them. And then that's when she starts realizing that, like, that's one of the ways that Barty disguised his handwriting, because that was a different handwriting. It was the clerk's handwriting. And then the bouquets come and George is looking at the card. She says, from a friend. And Nancy goes, are you sure you haven't been hiding something from me? Nancy asked teasingly. The little game went on for some time. Then Nancy's broad smile betrayed her. Nancy Drew, you sent these flowers, Bess suddenly accused her. Well, yes, I did. And George thanked her, saying it was a sweet joke. Sweet is in quotes, the kind she liked.
Aww.
So that was really cute. And then later, like the next page later, George wants to pin a rose on Nancy before dinner. Ned and his boys come down. It's Ned and then Bert Eddleton, George's friend, and Dave, who dated Bess.
Yes. Yep.
Uh-huh.
They're not together anymore. They're just friends.
They're just friends, and that's awesome. I love that for them. They're both very sporting. And then last couple paragraphs is Nancy revealing to Bess and George that the last part of the mystery was the moaning and groaning was the tree boughs, like, rubbing together. And George just goes, Nancy, you're the greatest. I don't know. It's just really cute. I know it's a friendship, but it's really cute, especially with the massage and the bouquet and pinning a flower. And, like, this friendship is taking a romantic turn.
Than how things went with Ned this time. So
seriously, because he's a big whiny baby this book.
Yeah. If it's a competition, George is winning.
Exactly. Because in the Whispering Statue, it was like everything that I liked about Ned, George also did. And then this one was like, well, it's pretty much just George this time. So did you like Mark and Margaret?
I did. I chose Margaret and Mark tentatively. I didn't love them as much as I did like Cecily and Nico as, estranged fiancés that Nancy reunites. But I like it more.
I love that there's multiple in that category.
For real. But I did think that, it was really clear that them not being together was so upsetting to both of them, and they just needed to be together. And so Nancy making sure that reconnecting them, playing the matchmaker a la Bess. And I think she did it a little bit more successfully. All she did was get them in the same room together, and they immediately were like, let's be together again.
Yeah, it was great.
Now, the one thing I will say that I'm more like, everything just came down to a communication issue.
Yep.
And that's always the most frustrating thing to me when it comes to any sort of media's portrayal of relationships, where if it's just
especially
something
like sitcoms, it makes me so annoyed.
Exactly. Where it's like, just talk to each other. Just use your words and don't.
However, this one, it's the 70s. Once she leaves town, it's kind of hard to get a hold of her.
100%. But instead of being like, I have to break off our engagement because I'm being blackmailed, this woman thinks that I stole a brooch, then maybe he would be exactly like Nancy and Carson being like, first of all, you didn't. Second of all, she has no evidence. Let's go talk to a lawyer. And, I completely understand that being in this stressful situation, sounds like she just had recently lost her family. She just lost her house. She's being blackmailed. You go into emergency mode. And so you're like, also, I'm going to break off my engagement. My mom has always said that when things get stressful, people exert control in their life where they can, which is why so many people go through breakups and divorces when there's other things going wrong in their life. Because if it's something that you can't control, one thing you can control is your relationship, and removing one extra stress or one extra person helps. It doesn't actually help often, but
it feels that that's something you can control.
Exactly.
Whereas the house fire was out of everyone's control, even though it seemed certain that the criminal had done it, and it just happened.
Just a coincidence. And so I was, though, when I heard like, oh, she broke up her engagement, I was like, I hope we learn more about that. And then they told me more. I was like, I hope we go find him. And then we went and found him. I was like, oh, I hope they get back together. And then they did. So
this was
in that way,
so Meghan bait. This is
exactly.
This is perfect for you. I love it. It was really cute, though.
Yeah, they were, and they were really sweet. And they're going to rebuild the house. And he was convinced that the reason she broke off the engagement was that she lost the engagement ring. Oh. And he was like, no, if she knew me at all, she would have known I don't care about the ring. I would have bought her a new one. But she must have been so ashamed that she lost the ring that she just ended things.
I love that it's like that's the only reason he could fathom. Is,
Yes, you're like,
obviously
I
it
don't know
wasn't
what
a
else I did
personality thing.
wrong.
We were perfect, so it must have been she accidentally lost an object. That is the only thing that could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
I love that.
And so...
I mean, and she did, but that wasn't the reason.
Yeah. It
That was
wasn't
like a separate
specifically the ring. She didn't actually seem that... She didn't ever mention it at all. But... Yeah, they're going to rebuild her house and estate, and Joe's going to come back and take care of the property and the garden, and things are looking up.
Excellent. It was really cute at the end. I am a little offended on Nancy's behalf that she doesn't seem to be invited to the wedding.
Right?
Let alone being a bridesmaid. So, like, what are they going to do for bridesmaids? Nancy Drew is the only one available, is my understanding.
Sometimes Bess and George are, but only when Nancy is too busy.
That's true. That's true. And so I don't think any of those three are bridesmaids. So they might be bridesmaid lists, which I feel like in the 70s is going to be a huge scandal.
I know. They just going to elope?
Oh, my goodness. Well,
I
no,
know.
because they got to wait till Joe gets better so he can attend. So there's
of
only one
course.
person there.
That's their witness.
Maybe he's the efficient. No, the mountain lion's the efficient. The scarecrow can be there.
Oh, perfect.
Wait. Sorry. Wait. I need to be farther away from the microphone for this. No. So we got the scarecrow, we got the lion, and we got the gardener who, like, did all their landscaping. He's a woodsman. That's the Tin Man.
Amazing.
Oh,
this
my
is
gosh.
secretly...
My third eye just blew wide open,
This
guys.
is secretly a Wizard of Oz retelling.
It is. And the bridge itself, that's the yellow brick road.
Yes.
Ugh. Oh, my God, guys. Okay. All right. Obviously, Nancy's Dorothy. She's wearing blue and white on the cover. More on that in Picture Perfect. But, like, this is perfect. And we know about Togo. That's close to Toto.
It is.
Do you think
It's
that's why
very
she's
close.
named that? Okay. All right. Sorry, I just got so excited. So it's like Scarecrow and Lion. That's 2 out of 3. I can force this. And I did.
Cooking corner.
Slim pickings for Cooking Corner.
Very slim pickings.
In fact, they say no to ice cream because the way they could get ice cream is with Barty.
Yes. They eat a lot of meals, but they don't describe them at all. Nancy cooks a warm meal, and we don't know what it was, only it was good.
Which, like, yes, in a mystery novel, it's not required, but it's a Nancy Drew book. Come
Exactly. How am I going to put together my Nancy Drew cookbook without a
Exactly.
recipe?
Which it turns out does already exist. There was an ad for it on the back of my last book.
No,
But
I'm
I
going
feel
to
like
make
you could do
my
it
own.
better.
I'm going to make
Yeah.
my own.
Nancy barely had time to snatch a sandwich. It doesn't say she eats it. She just steals it.
Yeah, all I wrote down, orange juice and breakfast rolls,
Yes.
because she didn't have time to eat anything
This is
else
before her golf
one,
tournament.
one of her golf tournaments.
Yeah, one of her golf tournaments. Bess is like, you can't do that. She's like, I was doing sleuthing. I don't have time for more than this.
And then she does feed the classic broth and toast to Joe Haley.
Broth and toast. No unflavored gelatin, so how is he going to get better?
I know. That's why he's taking so
Ugh.
long. That's why he's sleeping so much.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Yeah.
all I have written down.
Same. Sad.
Fashion police.
Fashion, not a ton.
I do have more written down for that than Cooking Corner.
It'd be hard to have less.
Yes. I will say a lot of it is not to do with our 3 main characters and not for
Yeah.
Nancy. The only thing that I got that she was wearing was sturdy shoes.
I saw that too.
That's it. They changed
Yeah.
clothes a lot, but we didn't get
But
any
it's not our
descriptions of
business
their
what.
outfits. Yeah.
Even though, like the last one where they changed a lot, they're still at this, like, not quite a resort, but like a fancy hotel, which is giving the same vibe as where they were staying for Whispering Statue, where there's like activities and...
Yeah, they were like a yacht club last time, I think, and now they're at a hotel
Yes.
that has a golf course.
But it's like both of them had tournaments, and that's just more of an experience than I take out of any hotel stay, right? Like this has a golf tournament associated with their stay. The last one had like boating races. This is not a Holiday Inn Express experience, is what I'm
No.
saying. I mean, there's a doctor on call.
Yeah. I wrote down that Barty is described when they first meet him as wearing white slacks.
Yeah,
Well,
they don't mention a shirt, which is very
No,
funny
he's
to me.
just wearing white slacks, and that is it.
And bushy black hair and a beard partially covered his angular, hard face.
Oh.
So that's why I also suspected him, because Nancy was getting intuition of like, a hard face. He's probably a no good Nick.
Yep. And he was. And then later, though, Bess or George describes him as, you don't like him? Is it his ultra-modern clothes?
Yup. I wrote that down in like a burn. George is like, "Ooh, you're stuck with him." They're trying to tease Nancy about her new admirer, which also reads as very gay, specifically from George, of like, "Oh, you like him," and almost trying to get her to say no. I'm like, "Oh, no? Who do you like?" Then
Oh, she
tell
also
me.
does say, I don't like the man any better than you do. And I was like,
Yeah,
you don't like the men?
that's really at all.
That's what I
That's
read.
yeah, and I think that that's correct. But George prophesies that you're stuck with him, and she goes, "I dislike his type, and you both know it. But one thing about him did capture my interest, and that's when Bess is like, Bess giggled. What was that? His ultra modern clothes, and I could not tell if the dig was they're too ultra modern and they don't look
Yes.
good, or they're out of date.
I was
I
going
have
to say
no
the
idea.
same thing. Don't
I'm
know.
so sorry for cutting you off.
No,
but like, yeah,
no, I just agree. Like,
I don't know. It was clearly an insult, but that's all I got.
mm-hmm. And then Nancy, I'm sorry, I lied. We do get one outfit that Nancy wears. She steals from Joe Haley's closet when
Oh,
she is muddy while also investigating his house and taking his pictures and putting them in her pockets. I actually don't think she puts it in her pocket, but I just imagine that.
Yeah.
And
This is a different time. This is a different time when it's raining.
Oh, sorry. One of the other times she is in Joe Haley's house while he is unconscious.
Stealing his possessions.
It's stealing his possessions. Yeah. This time it is a pair of slacks and an old blue shirt, which Ned does compliment her on her outfit.
He goes, "By the way, you look great in Mr. Haley's clothes." And she goes, "I'll bet I do." And she laughs as if it's like maybe not her usual outfit, which I don't think it is. But I did flag it for accidentally gay of like maybe it's a little bit of drag, at least for her, because she doesn't usually wear like a flannel and pants. It's really cute. I like that Ned liked it. That was his only positive.
Yeah. And then the boys, when they go to the dance, they each are wearing different colored striped sports jackets and pants. I imagined it like they're in like a Land's End magazine, all wearing the exact same one, but it's in different colors.
You can buy A, B, or C.
Exactly.
I think you're right because like they all are similar enough that Nancy goes, "It's hard to tell who is the handsomest," and Dave goes, "You'd better say Ned." Which is very funny.
Yeah, Ned and Nancy were not in sync this book.
No. Yeah, not as many outfits, but the ones that were there were very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Picture perfect.
So, the pictures were fine.
They were fine, but the cover's crazy.
Yeah, it's looking pretty terrifying, which is not what happens in this book at all.
Correct. It looks like the ghost is an alive human or creature that is human-sized and actively floating across the bridge toward Nancy, who is scared. That is not what happened.
Nope, not at all. This is what we get for describing the plot of the book to our spouse to draw, as you would hear about in our history episode. Yeah, I'm not loving the covers the way I once did. I wonder if I ever
at least
will.
Is all one scene as opposed to some stuff looming in the background.
I had 2 internal pictures that I flagged.
Yeah.
One, just because I think this moment is just so crazy. And the picture itself isn't that weird. What an odd scene to choose to illustrate, which is when Nancy finds this brass box full of what turns out to be jewelry. The way that they can't open it. They try, they jiggle it, they put a hairpin in, they're not getting it. And Nancy's like, "Oh, I have an idea," and then like leaves the room, comes back with her golf shoes.
Yeah.
With the spikes, which I did take a picture of some 60s golf shoes with metal spikes. And I'm going to send those to you right now. And what she does is like put one or more of the spikes into the lip of this chest and then uses the other shoe as a hammer. It works. So like I can't fully criticize this, but that's the strangest way to open the brass chest. So I already was taking notes on that, and then I turned the page and there was a picture of it. I was like, whoa, okay.
Meanwhile, George and Bess are like lounging. At least Bess is.
Yes.
Just on the bed, like it looks like I don't know. Yeah, George is kind of peering over at the action. Bess is lounging in like a more modern pose than I think a lot of the pictures we've seen so far. It felt almost like the 80s book covers.
Yes. Lounging on the bed in the background.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very odd scene.
Yes. Odd scene and odd to choose to illustrate that.
Also, this is while her hand continues to be injured. So they're like, yeah, for sure. You can still hammer at this with your injured hand and your golf equipment, whatever.
Did you have a picture before I do my second one?
Yes, the first one in the book, I started thinking, because we've just come off the whispering statue, Ned is placing a paper in the hand of the marble figure because they're supposed to like leave a note with like a human-sized statue that's in a fountain. Nancy looks a little like, I don't know, almost like Buffy here, where she's like biting her finger and looking to the side and whatever. Ned looks like he's the oldest man. And I was like, what if the statue's actually a person? Oh my gosh. Because Nancy was inside a statue before, and then it was like almost not relevant at all.
I also did actually consider that as well. The last picture.
Yeah, this was a fake thing from Barty.
Yeah. It was just a red herring.
So they left a blank paper instead of a real note, so that was smart.
Yeah.
I feel like they got that idea from the fake telegram.
My last picture is about halfway through, which is the moment when Nancy is accused of cheating when she wins her second round of the golf tournament, because she hits her ball into the woods. Chris makes a comment. He's like, oh, that's going to be impossible to get out of, and maintain your lead. And Nancy immediately proves him wrong and hits the ball perfectly. She's accused by the woman she was playing against, Ruth. Is that Ruth?
Yes, I believe that was Ruth at this point.
Of cheating, that she must have done exactly what Barty had done earlier, which is move the ball and then hit it. And so...
But she didn't.
What I love about this picture is the facial expressions on
and
our
how
three.
Everyone has a different emotion.
Yes. Nancy is just looking like her brain turned off with her jaw half open.
Nancy's not home right now.
Yeah, not even looking at Ruth. She's just kind of staring off into space with her mouth half open. George is chastising the woman.
Yeah, got her finger in her face.
Nancy would never cheat, but she also has the most calm expression as she waggles her finger. And she's just like, hey.
She's just here to defend her girl. Nancy's never cheated in her life, and I will stand for her honor. But also, extremely calm about it.
Definitely, could be also explaining something, patiently, unsure. And then Bess off to the side, looking like Emma Watson, actually.
Yes.
And just the nastiest glare on her face.
She's so mad.
Finally an emotion, because, honestly, Nancy and George barely have an emotion. Bess is got enough feeling for all of us.
Can't see the accuser because Ruth Allison's back is to us, or she's angled, and she's also got a hat. In the background, Barty's bursting in.
Barty the Bargain.
For Nancy. And,
there he is.
Literally. And he says, well, I saw her, and she didn't move the ball. And that's not true, but he's sticking up for her. This is the only time Nancy's like, I guess Barty does have his good points, which, no, he doesn't. And how would you describe his expression?
Well, on my digital one, it's a little hard to see. So if I zoom in, I don't, it's again a rather just blank expression where he's walking in with his finger up.
Especially with his outfit, it's giving college professor about to tell you a fun fact.
Yes.
And then in the
by the
background
way, did you know?
This, yeah, right. Well, actually, ladies, let me just step in here. There's also all these pictures of little stick guys playing golf. They're probably not supposed to be of stick guys, but they're just so small and in the background. And a golf trophy.
Also, I just, as I'm looking at it right now, one, it's got a lot of shading. A lot of shading.
So all the pants blends in.
Well, and that's the thing is Nancy, George is standing next to her and has her, assumedly looks like jeans. And they are normal colored, aside from a small shadow from her arm. Nancy's legs are entirely in shadow somehow. It doesn't make sense.
I thought maybe it was the pattern of her shorts, but then her legs are also entirely in shadow.
It's they turned off the lights on the bottom half of the picture. I don't know.
It's very odd.
It is very odd. Odd picture.
My other one is the Benny Hill theme chase near the end.
I've got that one too.
Oh my God. Even in my printed version, most of them don't have faces because they're too far away, ? Can you describe what's happening here? They thought they finally proved that Barty is the bad guy.
Yes, they overheard some details about someone who is forging things. They're aha, it's Barty, we knew it. And they're get him. And so Bess and George, Bert and Dave, football tackle him to the ground and throw him into a shed.
Because George found some keys and is I wonder if these go here. And then they lock him in and get the hotel people to be this is your guy. And they open the door. They're oh, I know we spelled out B-A-R and M, but that was not Martin and Bartescue. We were talking about Barney Milton, who is a forger or
And
something.
he's like in the kitchens. He's been forging checks.
Oh, no, Cook Jennings was
Cook.
using Barney Milton's signature. That's what it was. Mr. Bartescue had nothing whatever to do with the matter. George murmured in confusion, I shouldn't have acted so impulsively. Only I thought Mr. Bartescue was under suspicion even before this.
Yep.
Like, that's fair. But the statue is watching placidly. Someone's pointing. There's a lot of chasing. It's very silly.
It is very silly. And you can barely see the people in the background all tackling Barney.
Their faces don't matter, only the tackle.
Blast from the past.
Nancy, again, is given information she shouldn't have. After giving a brief explanation about something, she just asks the desk clerk if she might look at the registration cards of recent guests, and they go, certainly, Miss Drew. Glad to be of help at any time. Girl, no. You can't have that.
No, you can't. They won't tell you anymore if someone's staying in a hotel, will they?
I hope not. Also, this hotel has an orchestra, and it's excellent.
Yes, and a dance almost every night, it seems. And
like
so
it.
does the other hotel, so you can just go to the other hotel and go dance too. I also just wrote compacts.
Yeah.
Being a blast from the past.
And the ladies' lounge also.
Yes. I know women do use powder on their faces, but it's not something I feel like that needs to be refreshed multiple times throughout the night, or maybe I'm just hanging out with different types of people. But yeah, definitely a blast from the past. And also, again, might just be the type of people that I hang out with, maybe for the wealthy or upper middle class is still a thing. I have just felt like in the last 2 decades, women especially aren't wearing lots and lots of jewels the same way.
That the compact alone is in this book $6,000, which I went to the inflation calculator, and assuming that this is the 1972 price, that's $48,000 rounding up. That's
just to carry
crazy.
A little mirror.
Not even to wear, just to carry.
I do know that one of the reasons that, expensive jewelry just isn't as common, one, costume jewelry or Claire's jewelry.
Right.
There's so much fun jewelry now, and you can make things look really sparkly and shiny without them being real. But in addition, one of the reasons that women used to own these lots of jewels and pass them down is because historically women were did not own property or have their own bank accounts. And so if for whatever reason your spouse died, you got to leave. Yes, yeah. Then your jewelry could be used for money, to sell
turn
it
that into liquid assets, right?
Yes.
Because otherwise you maybe can't get a job, or maybe you are unable to provide for yourself because of just the way employment is or whatever.
And so, women have long since joined the workforce, make their own money, have their own assets, have their own bank accounts, and so that has become
as of I think the 70s. I think that was when.
Yes, and so
which is.
It's less necessary now.
Yes. I was actually pleasantly surprised by the doctor's respect for Nancy's autonomy.
Yes.
Given that she's a woman and it's the past, and that's not always even true today. But when it gets hurt a little more on that wound watch, Dr. Ackerman says sternly, what have you been doing to this hand? I hope you're not planning to play in the golf tournament tomorrow. Oh, doctor, please don't say I shouldn't. That is a matter for you to decide, young lady. Your injury will not prove permanent, but I can see you must be in excruciating pain at times. So he's like, here's the situation. It's not going to be permanent, but it's going to suck. You make that call. It's your body.
Here is my recommendation. You do you.
I was pleasantly surprised by that.
Yes, I was as well. And I mean, she had to see the doctor multiple times and have lots of check-ins with him. So overall, good doctor.
Good doctor. We talked a little bit about pawn shops near the end, which was interesting. Just at the very, very end, last 5 pages, this is talking about Mrs. Brownell pawned some of the stolen articles that she stole from Margaret Judson before the house fire, hours before the house fire. And Margaret Judson is excited that she can get them back because Ms. Brownell still has the tickets. And I forgot how pawn shops work because I only knew about them from books because I've been lucky enough to not have to pawn stuff. But it's also been implied to me from reading that pawn shops are kind of predatory. I don't know if that's true. It probably depends on the shop. But the concept, if anybody isn't aware, is you go there and you can either sell something that's valuable, like a watch or your jewelry or whatever, or you can pawn it where you get a ticket that says, okay, I put it down for like $160 so I can have that now. And then if you raise that back after your time of financial need, you can go and get your object back if it hasn't like sold or if the time hasn't expired for them to just take it as their own. So I don't know.
Yeah. And then also just golf being in here.
Oh, my God. There was so much stuff. George has to sign off to test
the
or
witness.
something.
Yeah, to attest that Nancy's score was correct. I don't know. I don't play golf other than like...
It does seem to still be a thing.
That's
and
good.
I looked up... She asked for her mashie at one point. I'm like, what is this? And when I Googled it, it brought up the Wikipedia page, obsolete golf clubs, which is hilarious. And apparently it's what was then a 4-iron, but is now comparable to a modern 7-iron for all the golf heads out there.
Yes. I also just like golf is one of the oldest recorded human game, which I would argue that soccer is probably, or like football, whatever you want to call it, is probably like truly one of the oldest.
Because it doesn't need any equipment at all.
Yes.
Besides ball.
Yeah, ball and goal, which goal could be whatever area. It is a very old sport, which it is traditionally thought to have originated... Modern golf originated in Scotland. But I was reading the Wikipedia page for like the Netherlands. There have been so many times that this game has been banned in public because of all the betting on it and the fights gotten into about whose ball was closer.
Awesome.
It was called, I think in the Netherlands, golf with a C.
Oh, okay.
And that was all the way back to like the 1100s, 1200s. Evidence of a golf-like game being played in Europe. And all of the like formalized rules came from Scotland. And that's why it still has an association with it.
Interesting. At one point, Ned goes, I'd like to give that guy a going over he wouldn't forget. And from context, it's clear that he like wants to either verbally or physically hurt this guy. But I looked it up, and an equally prevalent definition, because they're both listed as rare and UK definitions, is give someone a going over is to examine someone thoroughly and critically. I'd like to really peruse his outfit. Peruse is another one where it can mean two things. It can mean thoroughly go over or just briefly. This is right before they also talk about looking Martin Bardescu up in the social register, because he should be there since he knows the Prince of Wales and all that. Do you know the social register?
I do not. I assume it's the register of the people, since social is people?
Only of old money, of course.
Oh.
It's a semi-annual publication in the U.S. that indexes the members of American high society, quote, historically a directory of old money, well-connected families from the northeast of the United States, unquote. But in recent years, membership has diversified, both in the geography and ethnicity of those it lists. Different cities have different editions, and at least as of 2018, it's still in print.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I didn't catch that. I mean, you said it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that part. But
yeah. Since he knows all these people, you should be in there. So since he's supposedly of high society, according to his own telling, he should be in this, and he's not. Interesting. That's another reason to be suspicious of him.
Fascinating.
Right? To figure out what professor, which of the marks she needs, she has to stop at the campus bookstore and see the directory of instructors, where we could just look that up online today.
Yes.
And then she gets both addresses and calls on them at home, of course. And she thinks she's in the wrong place at the first mark, and she is, because an upset toy wagon on the front lawn gave mute evidence that Mark Hilburn was married. And obviously this guy was so in love with Margaret Judson that he wouldn't have married, and she's right.
Chris's mom told her that she had heard that the guy was so distraught over it that he hadn't married. So it wasn't just an assumption that she made, but like someone else had said to her, yeah, he was so distraught he didn't get married.
True.
But she also, they call everyone on another list.
Yes. Oh, I have that right here, actually. Nancy set out with high hopes of calling on every real estate agent in the small city of Crofton. As they tried one man after another, she learned nothing. Finally, Nancy interviewed John Spencer, the last agent on her list, and he's like, oh yeah, I for sure rented a furnished house to Miss Judson. I just can't remember her first name. When Nancy convinced him that the matter was of vital importance, the realtor obligingly agreed to accompany the couple to his office. Again, this is after hours.
It's like
after
9 p.m.
And so this is the last on our list. And then he checks his records and is like, yes, it's this address specifically.
Go check her out.
What are you talking about?
This
you
is why
cannot be doing this.
People get murdered.
Literally. Ugh.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Wound watch.
So Nancy hurts her wrist, allegedly sprains it. The doctor never confirms that that's what it is. Nancy's like, oh my gosh, I sprained my wrist. When she falls off the short balcony into the bushes, she sprains her hand, which she gets it all bandaged up. And then, would you like to explain how it gets because she does one golf game. She's like, yes, I did so good. My hand feels so much better. How does she hurt it a second time?
Oh, that's right. Bess throws a heavy book about medieval history at her.
Yep. And she assumes Nancy is going to catch it without being like, catch. She just is like, here, throws it at her. Nancy's not looking and gets hit in the hand.
And it hits her injured hand. Oh, my God. And Bess goes, I'll never forgive myself. And she's like, the hand feels better already. Please don't worry. No, it does not. She's lying.
Liar.
She's trying to make Bess feel better for no reason because Bess hurt her hand that was already hurt from a stupid man.
Yeah.
Makes me mad.
Disappointing Bess. The only other wound watch I wrote down, she finally admits, twist her back when she fell off the balcony, which is why they give her the massage. So this is the most hurt we've had Nancy in a few books.
Well,
actually.
she gets her hand hurt a third time.
She does?
When the bridge crashes.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot to write that one down.
Yes. Ned's like, your hand looks really bad again. She goes, it is swollen, but it'll be all right to finish the golf match tomorrow because they had to postpone because of the heavy rain. Oh, my God. Poor Nancy. But no kidnappings, no knockouts. So we're still only at 6 for each of those over 15 books, which is, higher than it should be, but better than it has been.
Better than it has been.
As far as ratios are concerned. And then, of course, there's Joe, who accidentally shoots himself in the head, which is crazy.
You gotta be safe with your guns, everybody.
Or not have them, or
also
mountain
possible.
Lions. Sick burn.
So when they first meet Barty, Nancy's like, did you guys notice that he was really careful with writing as if he was trying to disguise his signature? And they're like, no. Wow, you're just really observant, Nancy. And then Bess says, I guess that's why she solves so many baffling mysteries. Bess sighed. Nancy knows how to make use of her eyes, and we don't, which is a little bit of a self-burn.
But also, it was stuff that, like, clues that Barty was throwing out to see if she would notice. So
yes.
I don't even know if we should count that.
No.
When they find the chest of jewels, this is after they've discovered that the ghost is, in fact, just a scarecrow. And Nancy goes, the thing that interests me is how did it get here so close to the haunted bridge? Perhaps the scarecrow put it there on his off-duty hours, Bess suggested with a grin. Ha ha, very funny, her cousin answered. Sounds like your brain's gone off-duty, which is so rude.
So mean.
Bess ignored the comment.
Yes.
Good job, Bess.
I also had that one saved. And then they cross the bridge to go to where Margaret Judson's burned down house is. They know that's where they are going. They find it, and there was just a huge pile of debris in the very center of the clearing. There's like charred pieces of building, and that's all it is. And Bess says, is this what we've come to see? Bess asked in disgust. And George replies, what did you expect, that some genie had restored the house?
I didn't even flag that. That's so funny.
Their cousins are they're usually
so
burning each other.
It's great. I don't know if this was meant to be a burn, but we talked about this a little earlier when Margaret was talking about what happened. Ned remarks, running away was the worst thing you could have done, which felt insensitive because she was like spilling her life story and very emotional. He's like, that was stupid.
Thanks, Ned.
Thanks. Good job, Ned.
Ned's having a bad week, okay?
It's not a good book for him. I have one last one, which is
Go for it.
When they're trying to figure out what happened to Miss Brownell, who was the one blackmailing her. She goes, I have no idea what became of Mrs. Brownell, but her friend, Mrs. Cartlett, annoyed me a few days ago at Hemlock Hall. I think perhaps she's staying there. I like not she was at Hemlock Hall. She annoyed me a few days ago, so she's probably there.
Yeah, that's where she is.
Yeah.
Drew's Clues.
Nancy is very good at golf, as she is with many sports.
Oh, yeah.
I also wrote that she was embarrassed about getting hurt. She did not want people to know. She didn't want people, because lots of people came out from the dance to be like, oh my God, what happened? And she was trying to pretend she wasn't hurt because she was embarrassed. Which everyone gets hurt, Nancy. It's okay.
But then she like hides from her friends when it gets worse. Like after Bess throws the book at her, Somewhat reassured, Bess returned to bed. She had no idea that Nancy actually was suffering intense pain, and it's so much that she, can't sleep, and she has to call the doctor.
Yes.
She's such a good sport, which I think we knew, but, the reason they stop the final match, which is against Betsy Howard, Betsy is scared of thunderstorms, and it's starting to storm, but no one stopped the match. So Betsy goes, "This is terrible. Surely the committee can't expect us to finish our match in this kind of weather." And she hesitates, and then she's like, "I'm going back to the hotel. If the committee says we may continue the match tomorrow, fine. If not, then I'll default." And Nancy's like, "No, we'll stop play by mutual agreement. No one would blame us for failing to finish under these conditions." So even though this would secure a win for her, she's like, "No. We're going to play it out. Even if my hand hurts, even if I'm about to re-injure it, I'm not going to win because of a weather thing.
I'm not going to win because you're scared of storms and you cannot stay out here. That's not fair. We'll both say we're not playing. Don't worry about it. And we'll play again when it is not storming.
Which I think is fair, especially because they're carrying a metal thing.
It will coincidentally give me more time for sleuthing and give my hand more time to rest.
Except for then she re-injures it.
I wrote down that she also talks to herself a la the video games, which she's
can't do that yet.
Yeah. She's like, "Oh, I should go back down to my dad." She's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be late meeting my dad." But then she's like, "I'll check out the powder room before I rejoin Dad," she said to herself. That
you
reminder.
Don't have to say that out loud.
Yeah, it just reminded me as if you're trying to leave the hallway, and she's like, "I have to go to the powder room first."
Don't forget, I promise I go to the powder room. She gets physically scared of the bridge, which I think is new. When they first are on the haunted bridge, because it's a little she's been on bad bridges before, and she will be again, but the young detective, her hands clenched around the wooden railing, edged her way to the middle of the bridge. Beads of perspiration dotted her forehead as the shaky support swayed. Suddenly, the railing billowed outward. Nancy paused, then deftly pulled the railing toward her. Well, if you're already scared and then the railing goes out, you can stop.
You could just be done with the bridge now.
Bridge.
Yep, all done bridge.
Yep.
All done bridge.
All done bridge.
I also noted how irritated Nancy was with
Barty the Bargain.
Yes, Barty the Bargain,
which is fair.
novel. Yeah, 100% fair. But I feel like in the past we've seen her be a little bit more patient or brush things off.
I mean, she starts by politely declining.
Oh, and that's part of it, is that he just does not stop harassing her. He does not take no. But there is a part where she is described as fuming, and that is not an emotion we frequently see on Nancy.
Yeah.
And then she immediately takes some breaths and calms herself down. Then it's because he invited her to another dance, and so she's like, "Oh my God, the nerve of that guy!" And she's fuming around the hotel room, and then she takes some deep breath, and she's like, "You know what? I think I'll say yes." And Bess and George are like, "Wait, what?" And then she's like, "Well, that'll give me an excuse to go to Hemlock Hall or Hemlock Hotel or whatever this place is called, so that I might meet Margaret Judson again."
Yeah.
And so that also kind of gives me that clue about Nancy that even though she hates this guy, she hates him, she hates everything about him, other than he did come to her defense, which, to be fair, Bess and George were there, and it was all going to be fine.
It was very mansplaining of okay, well, I know the thing that these three women said is not being believed, but let me just barge right in.
And then
actually.
Yeah, and to be fair, maybe Ruth is the one who's like, well, if a man is also going to defend her, fine, I rescind my complaint.
I believe the hotel says Ruth is known for being a sore loser, which
100%. Yeah, so I think it was always going to go in Nancy's favor. But yeah, the fact, though, that she's willing to put up with Barty despite everything he has put her through, she has an injured hand because of him. He is driving her absolutely up the wall, and she's willing to put that aside just for the mystery. She's like, "Well,
Barty's driving her batty.
I do have to gather some more clues." So, yes, I'll say yes.
Sure. Carson's a really good dad in this book. She's like, "Oh, Dad, I found a wonderful tennis partner for you." Kind of pointing with her thumb at Barty, essentially. The lawyer suspected that Nancy wished to rid herself of Bartescu and agreed to get his tennis shoes and raquette, which has a Q in it, and meet the other man at the courts. And he loses, and he's like, you know what? Defeat's good for anyone from time to time.
Yeah.
And then later, she wants to go shopping. She can't find Bess and George. She goes, "You want to go shopping with me?" "Be glad to," the lawyer agreed. "I'll give you 2 minutes to change your clothes." 2
minutes.
And then she forgets to leave a note, and the Bess and George are worried about her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I jumped from one thing to another so fast I forgot to leave word where I was going to be." And they immediately forgive her. But she's very very impatient in this book, not just with Barty, but like she forgot to leave a note for Bess and George, who she's staying with. And like when she needs to find Margaret Judson and calls literally every single real estate agent in the town because the answer is the last one on the list. She's like, oh, Ned, I must find her tonight. And like, I feel like it could have waited. It's waited this long. We don't know how long, but it's waited this long.
Yes.
But very impatient.
Very impatient. Agreed.
George and Bess have been writing letters home, and Mrs. Fane calls to talk to George, and that's when she overhears the thing that she thinks is about Barty being suspicious, but is about someone else. But she's like chatting with her mom. She's like, yeah, I wrote to you today, but of course we can call now, which is cute. Ned's been reading some, quote, fascinating books on wildlife, unquote, at the cabin. Carson and Nancy are doing a little flair for the dramatic near the end. They get like, I guess cops or FBI agents that just Carson has on call to cut off the exits when Ms. Brownell and Ms. Cartlett are coming to talk to Margaret Judson. And so they're there to cut off the exits, but Carson and Nancy are here to like overhear the conversation. Ms. Brownell gives himself away, and then Carson and Nancy emerge from the closet and confront the women. And they're like, oh my gosh, your identification's very interesting, Ms. Brownell. The lawyer said evenly for that compact is stolen property. Dun, dun, dun. Like that would have been a good cliffhanger, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
So whatever. But then he does say, like, she's like, oh my God, I don't want my daughter to know about this. She's at school in Paris. Can I please have her picture back? And he does give the picture back, even though it was in the stolen property and it could be considered evidence. And he's like, I'll try to make sure your daughter like doesn't hear about this. So he's a decent guy.
He is.
Even as he's dramatically jumping out of closets to accuse people of stuff. I also love that regarding favors, Margaret and Mark did not need to announce that their engagement had been renewed because, like, they're smiling and Margaret's got tears gleaming in her eyes. And Margaret goes, I'll never be able to repay you for your kindness. Ask any favor before she could even finish the sentence. It's like an M dash. Nancy goes, I just have one. And da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, she's already got it. Like, hey, in case she is willing to do a favor, I've already got it planned. And then when Ned offers to watch Mr. Haley and feeds some raw meat to a mountain lion. And she goes, there's something I wish you'd do for me, Ned. Please listen very carefully to anything Mr. Haley says, whether he's conscious or talking in his sleep. And he, like, clearly views this as an odd request, but is like, sure, absolutely. And then she goes, and I wish you'd take down every word in writing. So
yes.
Just letting you know, like, and finally, Nancy's really funny. So the bridge breaks. She re-injures her hand. This is the third injury. She's soaked. It's raining. And she's like, I can't get back. The bridge is broken, so I better go forward and go up to the cabin. And this is like right after the golf match is paused due to this, torrential downpour. And she knocks on the door, and Ned goes, why, Nancy, what happened to you? I thought you were playing your golf match. Nancy grinned. I was, but I decided to drop in for a moment and borrow an umbrella. Did you hear a loud crash a few minutes ago? Yes, it sounded as if the bridge went down. It did, and I went with it. You should have seen me sailing down the ravine. Like, she is injured. She is soaking, and she's hilarious.
She is, and she's still trying to not worry anybody.
There's a difference between just not wanting to worry someone and being a comedic genius at the same time, right?
True.
Like, she's not like, yeah, can you help? It's all fine, but like, whatever. And she's like, here's some cool wit I've got to put on display.
Sleuthing skills.
I don't have a ton of sleuthing skills that we haven't gone over yet, except for you have to just be good at appraising jewelry without ever studying that at all.
Yes, you also have to recognize that someone is just too sad to be evil. They couldn't be a jewel thief. They're just too sad. So definitely be able to, like, empath it out.
Yeah. Use your golf supplies for crime.
Yep.
Like, that's not your chest to break into.
Correct. And also just be good at golf.
That's true. That's an important sleuthing skill because, like, she wouldn't have found half the clues if she wasn't golfing and in the woods looking for her ball. Bess, coming in with a sleuthing skill of just, like, quickly, casually putting a sweater that she was carrying, like, tossing it over Nancy's arm so that Barty didn't see that Nancy had his chest, right?
So
that was
sneaky.
Slick.
Yeah, make sure you're looking for opportunities to hide your treasure from prying eyes.
Treasure.
So that you can go pry it open yourself.
Exactly. Very good.
Study these skills and you too will be your very own girl detective.
Miscellaneous mysteries.
I didn't really have much miscellaneous mystery other than it always kind of takes me out of the book when it switches perspectives
Yeah.
really suddenly, or not even perspectives, but goes from being this like third person limited kind of on Nancy's shoulders to like a third person omniscient. It just kind of shifts for a second and it kind of takes me out. But there's a part where Nancy doesn't notice a look that Barty gives her, like this like
Yes.
shrewd look. That's what took me out specifically. Was I don't mind when it's like, meanwhile, back at the statue, like
Here's
that's
two more of our protagonists that we still want to know what's going on.
yeah,
with
but
them.
to switch to see something that Nancy doesn't, and this has happened like once or twice throughout the books, that Nancy, Bess, or George doesn't notice. And it's usually something with like the bad guy or a suspicious person. That always kind of takes me out a little bit. And I'm like, jarred. And I see the like the benefit of it or like the point of it,
because
but
then we know more information, but still.
it's so infrequent, I think, which is why it's so jarring to me.
I just have a small handful, but I'll try to go through them quickly. Why are you golfing with your autographed ball? If it's such a big deal that you, like, she lost it, the caddy won't look for it, she can't find it. Chris finds it at the end and brings it out at, like, the third to last holes, like, maybe this will give you luck, which is cute, but also weird. I couldn't tell if Chris had a big crush on Nancy or not. It seemed like he was also kind of younger, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well, that's because he doesn't get a last name. Maybe that means you're younger. Nancy chases Joe Haley around before she knows who he is or he knows who she is. He jumps on a bike and she still keeps running after him. And then in chagrin, she watches him vanish from view and goes, now, why did he act that way? Is it because you were running after him even when he was bicycling? That could be why he ran away from you. That's very odd.
That was
Read
very
the
odd and
room.
unsettling.
No one likes this, Nancy. I was worried when Nancy got a telegram from her father saying to meet at a place, specifically at the airport, because we've had fake telegrams from him
Yes.
before.
Now I'm so suspicious of all the telegrams that she receives.
Oh my gosh. The boy at the counter at the soda shop mentions how funny Bartescu is to him and how he wrote a couple telegrams, crumpled them up, whatever. And he has the old ones that, like, he just left on the counter. The soda shop boy has them and is like, oh, do you want to read it? And she goes, no, I'm not interested in Mr. Bartescu's private affairs. So the boy just puts the telegram in his pocket. I'm like, why are you offering this to people?
I also, though, was surprised. My miscellaneous mystery is, why not? She's pocketing everyone else's stuff.
At the end, Joe Haley is like, he had a dream that Margaret Judson was next to him holding his hand. And she goes, perhaps you confused me with Miss Judson. Why is this always happening? She looks just like the statue of this Italian woman from like a while ago, like I think 100 years ago. She looks just like the wife of the guy in the tower, Asa in the Twisted Candles. She looks like everybody. And yet, she's also distinctive enough that, like, we know that it's this sleuth.
I do actually have one more miscellaneous mystery. Are we never going to be describing her as Titian-haired again? Are we just to red gold or red blonde? Because I liked it.
I liked it, too. We'll keep an eye out for that. Why does she have to go to Deer Mountain Hotel to talk to Bartescu? She's trying to, like, act like she's Miss Judson and get information out of Barty, and I think he like immediately knows what's going on because he says, what's the matter with 2BX Gardenia as like a meeting location, and she didn't know what to say, and so in sheer desperation she mumbles into the telephone, nothing but the weather, and hangs up immediately. Like, why are you so bad at this? Did she have to go to another hotel so that he didn't know it was her? What's going on?
I don't know. That one, yeah.
You don't? Okay. That's good that I am not the only one that's confused, unfortunately.
No.
Why is Mark Wardell the head of both the zoology and botany colleges at this
Plants,
university?
animals, they're the same.
Okay, here's how I read this. When George is cheering for Nancy to win the tournament. Bring home the silver loving cup. Like, it's silver loving cup. It's like the shape of a trophy.
Oh.
And it's silver. I just Googled loving cup and it's just a silver trophy, and like it has handles. It's kind of like a wider at the top, skinnier near the bottom, has a little base. That's a silver loving cup.
Huh.
But I was like, bring that silver loving cup home. I'm like,
yes.
Oh, okay. Calm down. Ned's talking about how he and the boys are fine to stay with Joe Haley. He shrugs, it would cost us a lot to stay at the hotel. This place is good enough. Did you not have that planned out when you offered to come to the hotel?
For real.
What? Last one, why didn't Barty learn from Martin Wardell? He goes, I didn't want to force my intentions on Margaret. I don't feel I should seek her out deliberately without some indication on her part that she wants to see me. Interesting. So we do understand this. We understand that this is how we can
B.
interact with a woman.
Yes. For real.
Ugh.
Gumshoe Game Show.
What are you playing for?
I would like to win the Silver Lovin' Cup.
I did take off the G. She says silver loving cup.
Silver Loving.
But silver loving is just so fun of a vibe.
Yes.
Question 1. I do have a theme, but you'll see it later.
Okay.
When Nancy and Bess first break into Mr. Haley's cabin in order to try to escape a storm and take care of Joe Haley's wounds, Nancy momentarily transforms into a protagonist of a mobile game ad. You know the ones, where they don't know what to prioritize in order to solve their situation as they shiver in a derelict room. Specifically, Nancy starts investigating a photograph, and Bess says, "Nancy, aren't you going to close that window? The wind is blowing directly across the bed." Then Nancy uses a hammer on the window, continuing the mobile game ad vibes. Your question is, which of these mobile games actually contains this as a plot? Note, all of these options have this in the ad. Only one has this in the game itself. Is it A, Lily's Garden, B, Gossip Harbor, C, Home Pin 2, or D, Gardenscapes?
I'm going to go with A, Lily's Garden.
No.
Darn.
Foolish. It is, of course, Home Pin 2, one I've never seen an ad for. I have seen ads for all the rest of them, and I verified them online.
I was going to say, I
don't
also
know
think
what
I've
Home Pin is.
definitely, played the sample, during the ad for
Yep.
Lily's Garden where I smacked things with a hammer, so that's why I hoped it was that
like
one.
a window. That's fair. Question 2. Perhaps the largest unresolved mystery for me in this book is, why does Joe Haley have a young mountain lion in a cage, and why is that still the case at the end of the book? Unfortunately, I have no answers for you, only a new question. In the musical Wicked, who sings the following lyric about a young lion, the Elphaba, freed from a cage? And the lion also has a grievance to repay. If she let him fight his own battles when he was young, he wouldn't be a coward
today.
today. Is that A, Bach?
Okay, I was going to say, I
B,
can answer it
Sierra.
without the options.
Oh, I bet you can, but let's for the people at home.
Oh, yeah.
Is it A,
I already know.
Bach, B, Fierro, C, Galinda, or D, Madame Morrible?
A, Buck.
Yes, and I do believe that you knew this already.
I did.
Number 3. Immediately between Nancy becoming a mobile game ad character and her finding the lion cub, Bess pleads, "Don't leave me here alone," which you mentioned earlier.
I did.
This is eerily similar to the plaintive quote, "Don't leave me here," that my friend's young son kept saying, confusing the parents and concerning everyone around them until they realized it was from a movie the kid was watching on repeat. What movie is that quote from? For more context, the quote is actually, "I'm telling you, you gotta help me, don't leave me here." And it's spoken to characters named Van and Minnie. Is this A, a goofy movie? B, an extremely goofy movie? C, Cars? Or D, The Shawshank Redemption?
Well, the child is watching it, so I hope it's not The Shawshank Redemption.
You have no idea.
I have been wrong many a time when a child tells me something. I'm like, how do you know that? And they're like, I love that movie. I'm like, why are you watching that, little 5-year-old? I never saw the Goofy movies, and I've only seen Cars once. Can you tell me just the quote again?
I'm telling you, you gotta help me. Don't leave me here.
I'm going to say an extremely goofy movie.
It's Cars.
Dang.
I'm so sorry. I
Dang.
only threw in the Goofy movies because it's actually Minnie, Minny, and Van. I was like, well, Van's going to give it away because the car's named Van.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also never saw the Goofy movies. But yeah, he just kept going, "Don't leave me here." And they're like, "We've never left him anywhere, I swear to God." Just so sad. Ugh.
All right, 1 for 3 right now.
2 for 3 because you got a bonus for Wicked.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank
Number
goodness.
4. Since the first 2 questions are all so far from the same 3-page stretch, I'm keeping that trend up. That's now the theme. After Nancy comes in from passively observing a lion, Joe Haley starts mumbling about Miss Margaret, referring, of course, to Margaret Judson. Miss Margaret is, of course, also the name of a 2008 documentary about Margaret Charles Smith. What's the subtitle of this documentary?
Oh, my goodness.
A, The Real Miss Mary Mack. B, The Tale of a Bookseller Who Sold More Than Books. C, The Story of an Alabama Granny Midwife. D, Walking the Streets of Memphis.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm so sorry.
I have
that was mean.
no idea at all. What was her name? Margaret what?
Miss Margaret.
Just
Margaret
Miss Margaret.
Charles Smith.
Margaret Charles Smith.
Marl Carl.
Marl Carl Smith. I'm going to say B, Shot in the Dark.
It is C. I'm so
Darn
sorry.
it,
And
I
I found out
almost
about
went
it
with
from
C.
from like midwife.com or something.
Oh my
I was just
gosh.
Googling like, surely Miss Margaret is something. And it was like, yeah, of course. Do you want to buy this? It's sold out. We can only get it on DVD if you bought it in 2009.
Oh my
but
goodness.
all the midwives on midwife.com or whatever love this.
Wow.
All right. 2 for 5. You got this. Okay. Number 5. One of the most mysterious things about this caged lion is that it raises its head and gives a blood-chilling howl. While mountain lion noises can be scary out of context, as far as I can tell, no one on any website has ever referred to it as a howl. In Howl by Florence and the Machine, what movie does she quote in her lyrics?
Oh, goodness. I don't know anything.
I'm sorry. I should have added more bonuses. I was like, wow, so lenient last time. I'll be less lenient this time. I need to even them out. But is it A, The Wolfman from 1941, B, Werewolves of London from 1935, C, Teen Wolf, the movie from 1985, or D, The Boy Who Cried Werewolf from 2010?
I want to do Werewolves of London.
I'm so sorry. It's 41, The Wolfman. A man who's pure of heart. I'm not going to sing it. A man who's pure of heart and says his prayers at night may still become a wolf when the autumn moon is bright. Apparently that's like directly from The Wolfman.
Wow.
Apparently The Boy Who Cried Werewolf stars young Victoria Justice and is a Nickelodeon television comedy and horror film.
Ooh. Never heard of it. And I was a big Nickelodeon kid. So, Colleen, you have won the Silver Lovin' Cup.
I can't wait.
I hope it has a golf stick on it so that we know it's for golf.
Oh, that's smart. That's very smart.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Me and You and Nancy Drew and learning about outdated golf terms with us.
This podcast is lovingly dedicated to the memory of my wonderful mother, Shar, the woman who got me hooked on sassy female detective stories. I also want to thank my brother, Ben, also known as Digital Women, for creating many of our sound and music cues for this podcast. Thanks, Ben.
You can check out our website, meandyouandnancydrew.com, for show transcripts, our episode calendar if you'd like to read along with us, and links to our Patreon, where we will post any images that we described during the podcast. Those will be visible to anyone without a paywall. But if you'd like to become a patron, we've got some very fun perks, including outtakes and discussions that got cut for time, stickers, cross-stitch patterns to create your own Drewseum at home, and more.
Thank you, Megan, for editing this podcast and creating additional sound cues.
Thank you, Colleen, for also editing the podcast, for transcribing the episodes, and for designing our website and Patreon perks.
Thank you to our partners for the support, love, and microphones.
Thank you to libraries everywhere for giving access to Nancy Drew books and fascinating books on wildlife and media of all kinds to people everywhere for free.
And finally, thank you, of course, to the one and only Carolyn Keene for independently writing 620 Nancy Drew novels from 1930 to present day. Join us next episode for our discussion of The Lost Locket. This is the second in the Nancy Drew Notebooks series.
And don't forget the moral of this episode. I've learned never to count my score until the last hole is played.
See, that's actually a good moral. Mine is, I seem to have achieved the prize boo-boo. That was George being like, oh, we for sure locked the wrong guy in a shack.